Greetings fellow dungeon delvers and welcome to Dorans and Dragons. My name is Justin, and I'm going to be your guide to bringing your favorite League of Legends champions to life in Dungeons & Dragons. Today we're building Galio, the Colossus. Galio was created by the sculptor Doran over the course of 2 years. He was sculpted from powerful Demacian stone known as petricite, which carries powerful resistances to magic. At first, the Demacians thought him to be a simple statue, which they used as an intimidation tactic against their enemies. During one such battle, the Arcane Fists were slaughtering Demacian soldiers with raw magical power, when the remaining survivors of the battle huddled by Galio and waited for their inevitable demise. As the magic splashed against Galio, he awoke from a deep slumber and smashed the war mages against the mountain. But as quickly as Galio had come to life and defended the soldiers, the magic keeping him awake ebbed, and he returned to an inactive state. As Galio watches on, he hopes one day to be imbued with enough magic to never need to sleep again. Before we get started with the build, go ahead and like the video and hit that subscribe button so you're always notified when we release our builds. We'd like to take a minute and thank our awesome patrons over on Patreon who support us every month. Thanks for helping us keep the lights on and the magic bouncing off of us. If you like our videos and want to support the channel, come join us over on Patreon today for just $1 to get access to our awesome Discord community where we talk League and D&D all day long. Alright, now let's get into it. Here's a quick preview of the build. For race, we're going with Warforged. Per usual, our stats are going to be determined using the standard array. For our stat priorities, we're going to max Constitution and dump Dexterity. We do have a multi-class requirement of 13 in Strength and Charisma. Our leveling path is going to be levels 1 through 5 in Fighter, then we'll jump over to Paladin for 7 levels, and then finish the build as a Fighter. Galio's passive, Colossal Smash, will be the Thunderclap spell. His Q, Winds of War, is going to come from Dust Devil. Our W, Shield of Doran, comes with Aura of Warding and the Command spell. His E, Justice Punch, will be Trip Attack with some fancy footwork. And finally, we get our ultimate, Hero's Entrance, from using Fly and casting Thunder Wave when we land. For race, we're going to create our Petricite Gargoyle with Warforged. Warforged gain a +2 to their Constitution, and will also take a +1 to our Charisma. They also gain Constructed Resilience, giving advantage to saves against being poisoned and resistance to poison damage, as well as being able to ignore eating, drinking, breathing, sleeping, and diseases. And finally, magic can't put you to sleep. Now to explain your method of sleeping, Sentry's Rest is going to let you take a long rest by spending 6 hours in an inactive, motionless state, letting you keep watch at all times. You have some cool roleplay potential here to have one of your magical allies cast a cantrip to give you the strength to awaken if you'd like. We're also going to be able to enhance our body with an integrated protection, giving us a +1 to our AC and the ability to incorporate our armor into our body, meaning it cannot be removed against our will as long as we're alive. And finally, Specialized Design is going to give us proficiency with Arcana, which will help us understand the magic that gives us life. As the Magical Sentinel of Demacia, we'll go with the City Watch background. We'll get skill proficiencies with Insight and Athletics and the Watcher's Eye feature, letting us find our local Demacian outposts, and we can easily point out hidden groups of mages throughout the city. For stats, we're going with the balance Riot has achieved with Galio's rework with the standard array. Roll if you want to, but keep at least a 13 in Strength and Charisma for multi-classing purposes. We'll start with a 15 in Constitution for the tankiness our Petricite body provides. Intelligence is going to be after that to ironically help our spell saves. Then we'll get Strength so we can smash anyone thinking of attacking Demacia. Charisma will be next for the intimidation we cause in our enemies. We'll have an average Wisdom and dump our Dexterity. Now for equipment, we'll give ourselves some chainmail that will integrate into our Petricite body thanks to our Warforged features. Alrighty, we're going to kick things off with some levels in Fighter. Fighters have a D10 hit die and give us proficiency with Heavy Armor, Intimidation, and Perception. We'll also power up our strikes with the Unarmed Fighting style, which will let our unarmed strikes deal 1d8 plus our Strength mod and damage. And the final level 1 feature we get from Fighter is Second Wind, which will give us a bonus action heal that restores 1d10 plus our fighter level and hit points once per rest. Oh, and don't spend hit die before you use this on a short rest. Thank me later. Second level fighters get Action Surge, letting you push yourself once per rest to take an additional action on your turn. We'll use this to get our ult, by combining the Fly spell and the Thunderwave spell. So you'll cast Fly on yourself and zoom 60 feet, crashing into the ground, then action surging to cast Thunder Wave on the poor unsuspecting creatures who you land on. Level 3 fighters choose their martial archetype. We're going to get a little controversial here by going with Eldritch Knight. We'll have to wink wink, nudge nudge it away as some interaction with his Petricite body and the magic that brings it to life. This is going to give us spellcasting, including our passive and the shockwave of our ultimate, with Thunderclap and Thunder Wave respectively. Thunderclap is going to force a con save on all creatures within 5 feet, dealing 1d6 thunder damage to each creature who fails the save. To perform your passive, you can either flavor the Thunderclap as you slamming the ground, or you can actually attack and then action surge and Thunderclap as well. Now, Thunder Wave is going to be very similar, scaling the range of the spell up to 15 feet and increasing the damage to 2d8 thunder damage. On top of that, each creature who fails the save is knocked away 10 feet. 4th level fighters get the first ability score improvement of the build. As always, we'll break them all down for you here so you can pick and choose along the way. Starting at Fighter 4, we'll take the Martial Adept feat, giving us a d8 superiority die to enhance one of your strikes once per rest, and a maneuver to spend it on. We'll get our E with Trip Attack, letting us force a strength save on any creature we strike and knock them prone if they fail, dealing whatever you roll on the die as additional damage. At Paladin 4, we'll get Mage Slayer, giving us a few cool features against our dreaded foes, the magic users of the world. When a creature within 5 feet of you casts a spell, you can spend your reaction to take a swing at them. Also, anytime you damage a creature concentrating on a spell, they have a disadvantage on the save to maintain that concentration. And finally, you have advantage on any saves against spells cast on you by a creature within 5 feet of you. At Fighter 6, we'll round off our Constitution and Charisma scores with a point each. At Fighter 8, we'll max our Constitution with 2 more points, and finally at Fighter 12, we'll bump our Intelligence up 2 points for tougher saves on our spells. Level 5 fighters gain extra attack, letting us make 2 Petricite punches per attack action instead of 1. Alrighty, switching gears now, we'll head over to Paladin to grab our W. Paladins have a d10 hit die and give us no new proficiencies. Divine Sense is going to enhance our detection of certain magic-like beings, by letting you spend an action to detect any celestial, fiend, or undead creature within 60 feet. Lay on Hands is our other level 1 feature that acts as a pool of hit points equal to 5 times your Paladin level that you can spend as an action to heal yourself or a creature you can touch. You can also spend 5 points of it to neutralize a poison or cure a disease. 2nd level Paladins gain a few features at this level. Fighting Style is going to give us an extra point towards our AC with the Defense Style. We'll also get the Taunt portion of our W with the Command spell thanks to spellcasting. As an action, you speak the word Approach, forcing a Wisdom save on a creature, forcing it to walk directly towards you until it gets within 5 feet of you. You can only target a single creature at first, increasing with targets as you cast with a higher level spell slot. Our final level 2 feature is Divine Smite, letting us spend a spell slot to deal radiant damage on our punches. The damage is 2d8 plus 1d8 for each spell slot above level 1. Level 3 Paladins choose their Sacred Oath. We'll get some strength against magic with the Oath of the Ancients. This isn't a perfect oath for Galio, and if you wanted to go Oath of the Crown instead, I totally understand. Normally I'd go into the channeled divinities at this point, but I would recommend using the Tasha's Harness Divine Power feature, letting you spend their uses to regain an expended spell slot instead. 6th level Paladins gain Aura of Protection, giving you and friendly creatures within 10 feet of you a bonus to their saving throws equal to your Charisma mod. And for our final level in Paladin, we'll get the passive on our W with Aura of Warding, giving you and all creatures within 10 feet of you resistance to damage from spells. Combining this with Mage Slayer will mean anytime a creature within 5 feet of you hits you with a spell that has a save, you have the potential of cutting the damage down to 1/4 of its possible damage. Going back over to Fighter now to finish the build, level 7 Eldritch Knights gain War Magic, which will let us do our passive backwards. Meaning, when we Thunderclap as our action, we can spend our bonus action to throw a punch. 8th level Eldritch Knights learn their first non-abjuration or non-evocation wizard spells. We'll pick up our Q with Dust Devil. You'll fire off a blast of wind, causing the swirling energy to land in a 5-foot cube and force a strength save on any creature it hits, dealing 1d8 bludgeoning damage and knocking the creature 10 feet away. Like how Galio's Q drifts, you can use your bonus action to move the Dust Devil 30 feet in any direction. Try to drag it over some debris, which the cloud will pick up, and bump the radius of the spell up to 10 feet. 10th level Eldritch Knights get Eldritch Strike, making our attacks cause disadvantage on saves against our first spell on that target as long as we cast before the end of our next turn. Level 11 fighters get an improvement to extra attack, letting you attack 3 times per attack action instead of just 2. And finally at level 13 we'll get the leaping portion of our ultimate with the Fly spell. The spell will give us a 60 feet flying speed for 10 minutes as long as we maintain concentration. Now here's the catch. Technically, Eldritch Knight can only learn one non-abjuration or non-evocation wizard spell at this point, but hopefully your DM won't give you a hard time about this since you're just using these 2 spells and you're not really power gaming. Alright, now that we've completed the build, let's see how we did. First, the good. You were going to slam your enemies with a ton of crowd control and some impressive thunder damage, and you'll be able to arrive anywhere on the battlefield you're needed. On top of that, you have a 224 hit point pull and 18 AC without any magical armor even. Now the bad. The main bad thing about this build is we had to spend our stat points on tankiness and our spells, so our melee strikes take a bit of a hit as a result. Our spell saves aren't going to be much to write home about either, but as long as you keep your Eldritch Strike going, you should be fine. So what'd you think? I've included a link to this build via D&D Beyond in the description below, as well as Amazon links to the books used in this build. If you enjoy this type of content, please consider supporting us on Patreon. We have a few awesome rewards, and you get access to our great Discord community. We plan on churning out one League Champion build every week. Thanks for watching, and hopefully we'll catch you on the Rift, or in the Forgotten Realms.